All right, welcome in, hockey fans in the Desert Southwest. It's another Hockey Talk in the Desert Southwest. Andrew Bell is with me. Andrew, we're having a little technical difficulties. We were hoping to be live tonight on Periscope and Twitter, but we're having some issues with the audio part of it. So we'll record it. We'll put it up as ours because we're gamers, right? We've done this before. Welcome in.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And yeah, it's unfortunate with some of the technical difficulties, but that's the way it goes sometimes. It's just like in hockey when the puck goes the wrong way or you don't get a couple of bounces. It's the same thing on a broadcast like this. But yeah, thanks so much for having me and looking forward to it. It should be a good show. We have an exciting show coming up.
We do, and it's Hocktober. I've officially made it Hocktober. It's Hocktober. It's the start of the NHL season. This weekend's going to be the start of the NCAA season. The ASU Women's Hockey Team is going to join us, who have already played a weekend full of games and are 4-0 in the first time in history. We've got lots to talk about, but let's jump into the NHL right now. We got a little battle going on here because the Sharks and the Golden Knights are going to face off here after this opening game, which is the Capitals and the Stanley Cup champion Blues. So tell me a little bit about NHL hockey. What do you expect this year?
I think it's going to be an exciting year. I think, when you look at the local teams like the Coyotes in town, I think they're really in the play for kind of an up-and-coming season, kind of a breakout season, something that has been pretty dormant for the last, decade really in this town. So I think it's going to be exciting. Obviously, there's a lot of preseason hype with Phil Kessel coming in. I think he's going to make an immediate impact. And I think, there's been a lot of speculation about Antti Raanta and Darcy Kemper kind of in it. I'd say, if it was me, behind the bench, obviously it's not. It's Rick Tocchet, and that's why he gets paid the big bucks, but I would go Darcy Kemper, just with what he's been able to do between the pipes. Really, last season he was statistically the best goalie in the National Hockey League after the All-Star break. So, the NHL season is going to be fun. You talk about Vegas and San Jose. You look at Sunday night, what was it, 104, 114 penalty minutes combined? Those two teams just hate each other. I think it was a great job by the NHL to put kind of that home and home to start the season off. After those two teams are done playing, I imagine the tension every other game has to feel just like a warm-up compared to those two, those first two games. Both those teams they hate each other's guts. There's no really other way to put it. There's just been so much tension the last two seasons, and it's great to have a big West Coast rivalry like that. I think you're going to see the Coyotes get in the mix, kind of with that rivalry, and just the development of more West Coast teams. Obviously, the Seattle team is on its way, but kind of having Vegas, Anaheim, LA, San Jose, Arizona, kind of all, in that western part of the country, just going to draw more attention to hockey out in the West and in the Desert Southwest.
You know what? And in addition to NHL hockey, there's also AHL hockey, right? Palm Springs got announced as the AHL home for Seattle, which means there's only two teams now that have Western NHL teams that don't have affiliates in the AHL on the West Coast. So not only is the NHL growing, but the AHL is growing. We already know about NCAA hockey here at ASU. So let me pick your brain for a minute. Do we start seeing some NCAA teams in the Desert Southwest over the next 5 years?
I think that 5 years might be a little bit of a stretch. I think it's really tough. It just all depends on the athletic departments and how willing they are to put up a hockey team. I will say I think the closest team, and I'm sure you've had a lot of coverage of them as well, but is UNLV. I think they're the next team to kind of take that step and kind of move up to the Division I level at some point. There was a good article in the Las Vegas Review-Journal last year about, a possibility of trying to bring hockey to Vegas, and I think the market's there. The fans have obviously been drawn in with the Golden Knights, and they want more and more, and I think you're going to see development in female and girls hockey coming up throughout the years in Vegas, and then on top of that, UNLV with their ACHA team right now. I think that would be kind of the next one, and then, of course, you have ASU and NC2A hockey, who's doing a heck of a job under head coach Greg Powers entering year 5. So, it should be pretty interesting. But like I said, I think UNLV would kind of be that next team to make the move up.
I was talking on our College Hockey Southwest Weekly podcast last night to my co-host on that, Paul Hornstein, and I said, you know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing a trickle-down effect that starts at Greg Powers. And the reason I say that is you watch what he's done with the NCAA team. We've seen it. We've both been there. They've got some real talent, but they've got some real depth, and they've grown the program the right way, both on and off the ice. And now everybody in ACHA hockey is following along the same way. They're talking about stability. They're talking about credibility and accountability, and they're talking about adding depth to their programs. Trickle-down effect all the way to the ASU women?
I think that's something I personally would love to see. I think it'd be great for the growth of hockey. And I know I've actually talked to Coach Powers about that subject a little bit, kind of what Lindsay's been able to establish. Not only Lindsay, but, you look at the hometown rivalry, this weekend between ASU and GCU, and Natalie Rossi as well over at GCU. They've both done a great job in kind of developing their programs, recruiting as well. It's tough to recruit in ACHA hockey when you have other competition from outside factors, and then you have money that comes in play too. But I think they've done a really good job of kind of getting out on the recruiting front, looking not only here in Arizona, but looking all over the country and even north of the border in Canada. So I think both of them have done a good job. And then you mentioned the ASU possibility of moving up to NC2A Division I. There's a lot of outlying factors. It all comes down to money too. But talking to Coach Powers, he's somebody who has, children who play hockey and, who are around the game. And he said that he would love to see, women's hockey come to the desert. And so I think it's a possibility somewhere down the line, maybe not within the next 5 years, but you never know. People didn't think that ASU, the men's team, was going to have a Division I team. Then all of a sudden, overnight, it seems like they got a team. So, like I said, I think they're just going to continue to develop. I think the first step for the women's team is kind of, making a run in that national tournament. I know I've talked with Lindsay a little bit before about it, and she said that's kind of the goal, is to get kind of some national power and then move on to bigger and better things from there. But yeah, it's a good step in the process, and I think the rivalry game this Friday between ASU and GCU is going to be really fun to watch, and just great for the growth of female hockey and girls hockey in Arizona as well.
So there we go. The trickle-down effect is that Greg Powers laid the roadmap out, and everybody's kind of jumped on board and followed it along, right?
Yeah, I think everybody sees kind of what ASU's done, and he has a little bit of that trickle-down effect. But it's a really tough situation too, because ASU is such a unique situation. It's not like you see schools in the Pac-12 who just all of a sudden have kind of the programs to develop overnight, kind of like ASU did. And ASU didn't develop overnight. They had really good success at the club level, and I think for other, whether it's women's or men's programs looking to follow suit, I think that's the first step, is kind of building up the program first and doing it the right way. Then you can think kind of about the NC2A level.
All right, let's take a quick break. Let's come back and let's specifically talk NCAA hockey here at ASU as they prepare to open the season at home. That's another Saturday-Sunday tilt. Mercyhurst coming in. A lot of big expectations with that team that went to the national tournament last year. So we'll take a quick break. We'll come back with that, and then we'll get on to our ASU women's that are really enjoying some wings right now. So let's let them eat up, and then we'll get them on the mic.
Pre-game like a pro, post-game like a champion at College Bar and Grill. Located across the street from the iconic A Mountain and Sun Devil Stadium and a quick walk from Wells Fargo Arena, College Bar and Grill is your home for the best local craft beer, delicious creative cocktails, tasty food, and Tempe's best atmosphere for Arizona State athletics. College Bar and Grill. Pre-game like a pro, post-game like a champion. Online at ilovecollege.co.
All right, welcome back in, hockey fans. Live here from College Bar and Grill in beautiful Tempe, Arizona, on the campus of my co-host, the alum now, right? We can call you an alum?
Yeah, I'm an alum now. I feel pretty old, and just being around campus, I feel it's like kind of, like I said, just feel old now. But yeah, it's nice to be on the campus. Beautiful scenery here at College Bar, and got Sun Devil Stadium right in front of us. So, but yeah, I'm the alum now. So I got the alumni mail that comes in, the diploma and everything to show it. So, yeah.
I was getting a tad nervous when you said you feel a little old now when you're around me, I thought you were going to say. So I was a little nervous about that. But, let's start talking about NCAA hockey. And as we look out the windows here at College Bar and Grill, we see Sun Devil Stadium. We can see Wells Fargo. What's going to be behind Wells Fargo is what we're interested in. It's going to be a new arena. It's going to happen soon, we've been told. Coach Powers has kind of not told me everything, but told me there's stuff going on. Your thoughts on the new arena, and how soon are we going to see some shovels in the ground?
I think it's going to be sooner rather than later. I think it's been in the works, obviously, now for a couple of years. And I think once that arena comes, Joey DeCord said it last year best, but he thinks that, ASU has the potential, and not even the potential, but just the capability to be a powerhouse for Division I hockey. I think you're just seeing the growth over and over between whether it's John Loftner with the new sweaters that they debuted. It seems like some of the talent that they're bringing in this year. And, they lose Joey DeCourt. I think it's going to be interesting to see this weekend with Max Prodzik, Justin Robbins, Evan DeBrouwer, kind of how those guys play out and who the guy will be. Coach Powers has this guy in mind, said he's not going to share yet. And I can't blame him. You don't want to tip anything the night before puck drop and let some other teams do some scouting reports on guys. So I can't blame him in that regard. But, I think this is probably the deepest team ASU's ever had. It's going to be a battle to get on the ice every night. On the back end, I think that's one of the most important aspects of any hockey team is the back end. How do they play defense? How can they lock things down in the third period with a one-goal game? And that defense core is deep this year. I mean, there's 9 guys who can all play on the ice, and Max Ballinson had a little bit of an injury. He's going to be coming back. You got Connor Stewart, who played kind of as the extra skater last year. He's, from what I've heard from Leanne Blinn, the strength coach who we had on the show earlier this summer, I mean, he has really done some work in the weight room, and he's going to be ready to make an impact on the ice. And you have Brinson Pashnuk, Josh Maniscalco coming back, and then the 2 freshmen who I actually got a chance to interview and talk with last week between Jacob Simic.
Let's shout out right there, houseofsparky.com, correct?
Yeah, House of Sparky, that's who I write for. But yeah, I got a chance to talk with the 2 freshman defensemen in Jack Judson and Jacob Simic, who are coming into the program. And from everybody that I've heard from, whether it's Brinson, Coach Powers, everyone who's seen them play, just say, as Coach Powers put it, they're dynamite. And I think that D-core is going to be something to behold this year and to look at. And then up front with the forwards, you got guys like Johnny Walker, the nation's leading goal scorer, coming back, a Hobie Baker semifinalist, Demetrius Comonzis, and then Logan Genuine, who just lit the North American Hockey League on fire last year and broke all sorts of records. And I think, special teams is going to be interesting to watch too, what they do with that power play, because there's so many options this year. And then the D-core is really deep as well. But yeah, they have things trending in the right direction, and now it's we're kind of ready to put the mic down and let's stop all the talking and ready for hockey come Friday, but still just a few days away.
And the beauty of that is the guys are chomping at the bit because they've been on the ice for 2.5 months, basically reporting early to go to China. They're all ready to play hockey. They all seem to be relatively healthy. Like you said, Max Ballinson might be a little bit behind in his recovery. Jax Murray, the other one that's not on the ice officially playing yet. He's still wearing that colored jersey, the no-contact jersey. But Coach Powers told me that he looks at Jax Murray as a breath of fresh air in a couple of months or a month or so when he comes back, as being able to interject some energy into a team that might be ready after Quinnipiac and Denver coming in and teams like that.
Yeah, I think he has an opportunity, whenever he gets back to kind of fight for some ice time as well, and I think that's the biggest thing with this year's team. Last year, the team was deeper, but I think they're still, kind of in that growth period. And then the first 2 years, it was kind of whoever was healthy and whoever was willing to come play at ASU. That was the biggest thing, is getting guys here and getting the right guys. But that's really tough to do in your first or second year of the program. But you mentioned some of the freshmen who come in. I think they're going to have immediate impact, but you might not see it right away just because there's so many guys in front of them now. And that's really, a good thing to see if you're a program and you're trying to build things, because, now there's freshmen who, they're going to grow and they're going to keep on getting better, but they don't have pressure on them to come in right away. I think you saw that with Johnny Walker his freshman year. He came in and he's expected to be one of the top goal scorers. He's obviously developed into one of that. He showed that last year with his breakout season. But, I think the guys are going to, come in and they're going to have a chance to develop, and they're not really going to have the added pressure on them right away. And it should be fun to watch. And like I said, I think those freshmen are going to develop kind of year to year now instead of looking to make an impact right away. I still think they're going to play some freshmen, like you saw with Maniscalco, Johnny, obviously, his freshman year, and Demetrius Comonzis last year. But, now there's kind of more time to let things marinate a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, marinate they did, because a lot of the players have told me that they're kind of a chip on their shoulder over the way the season ended last year. They weren't ready for it to end. They felt like they were a good enough team to advance at least another round in the NCAA tournament. And I've heard an awful lot of talk about Frozen Four or bust for this particular year. Have you heard the same thing?
Yeah, think you hear it most from the guy who's the biggest leader in that locker room, and that's Brinson Pasichnuk. He's mentioned it over and over, but the chemistry on this year's team is something special, and he said it's even grown from last year. And I think the China trip has really helped the guys kind of develop chemistry, and they've just gotten tighter and more of a tight-knit group. So I think Brinson Pasichnuk's kind of at the forefront of that, kind of getting into the weight room with guys and working out with them. So he's mentioned that national championship or kind of bust for this year's team, and I think it's kind of a lofty goal, but I think, with the talent that they have in place, I think they could easily make a run. It all depends on the rankings too and how the team's playing at the end of the year. But those are the aspirations. That's a standard, and when you're coming in every day trying to play and live to those standards, I think it just kind of elevates that bar for you, and not in so much a pressure. A way with pressure, but just a way that when you walk in the room, you know what the standard is, and you know what guys are holding you to and what your coaches are holding you to, which it might not have been that way the first 2 or 3 years of the program.
Well, let's wrap up the segment on men's NCAA hockey by talking a little bit about the guy they're not going to have opening night with Jacob Wilson sitting out the second of his 2-game suspension, which I don't know that I've ever seen one like this, right? He gets suspended late February for a hit in Minnesota. It's the last game of the regular season. The only other game he can be suspended for is the first national tournament game. Now he's got to wait a whole summer, go to China and play, come back, and now the very first game of the year he's going to be sitting. I asked Coach Powers that when I talked to him on the 5-minute power play. I said, how is Jacob taking it? He said he's taking it very well. And the fact that he got an A on his jersey this year, Coach Powers also let something on the bag and said he's pretty sure he's going to be wearing a C next year. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think if you're Jacob Wilson, you got to just be itching to get in the lineup and play. And like I said, it is kind of an interesting situation with what happened last year in Minnesota and kind of how it carries over into this year. Obviously, that's just kind of, what the law was and kind of what was deemed for him. He's had to pay the ultimate kind of punishment for that hit and a play where he was trying to make a hockey play, and things just didn't turn out for him. One of those bang 50-50 pucks that's coming across the ice, and Coach Powers has stuck up for his defenseman before, but I think it says a lot, and it probably means a lot to him just to have that A on his sweater and possibly develop into a C over the next couple of years. He especially kind of his freshman year coming in, there's growing pains that year. That was when the team didn't have their NC2A tournament run. And, I think he experienced some of those growing pains, but he's just gotten better every year. I thought you kind of saw glimpses of it last year with some of the defense pairings that he was playing with. And, I think he's going to step into that leader role this year. And kind of once he gets in the lineup, like I said, he's probably itching right now, but once he steps in that lineup, I think you're going to see some special things from him and kind of just being steady and being able to be that lockdown guy on the back end.
All right, so we'll wrap this up. We'll come back and we'll start visiting with our undefeated ASU women's team. I know you've got a soft spot because you covered them the very first group you covered, right, in hockey in Arizona State. So we'll bring in some of the girls. We'll have them tell us what happened when they went to Colorado and came out with a 4-game sweep. 4 games, 3 days. How difficult is that?
I know hearing from when I was covering the team, and that's back when they didn't have a full roster, but those games are brutal. There's just so much fatigue that sets in, and it's part of ACHA hockey. But should be fun to have a visit with the ASU women's team, and like I said, off to a great start this year. First, to my recollection, the first 4-0 start in program history.
Absolutely, and we've got some of the girls here, so we're going to bring them in their jerseys. You and I will alternate. We'll visit with one of them each, so we get just the 2 of us, and then we'll come back and recap about ASU hockey and talk a little more hockey in the Desert Southwest right after this. All right, welcome back in, hockey fans in the Desert Southwest. It's Hockey Talk in the Desert Southwest. I don't get this opportunity a whole lot because you guys practice like at 6 in the morning, do crazy stuff like that. But it was time to bring on the ASU women's hockey team because you guys made history this weekend, and we're all about making history here in the Desert Southwest. When we started 4.5 years ago, and starting our 5th year, we made history because nobody was covering hockey here. All of a sudden, programs started sprouting up, right? I'm a Minnesotan. I got another Minnesotan next to me, and Finn Larson. So, Finn, first of all, welcome in.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
All right, we're here at College Bar and Grill right on your campus. You're a sophomore, so you've been here for a little while. Let's start off with the real tough question. How did you start playing hockey, and why did you start playing hockey in the great state of Minnesota?
Yeah, so as you said, I'm from Minnesota, which is the state of hockey, so it's not too hard to get into the sport. My dad played it when he was growing up. I have an older brother who's 3 years older than me, and he played it, and it's just kind of something you do in Minnesota. Like, you grow up skating on the pond, skating on the outdoor rinks, and then you join a team. I don't know. I guess that's how I started.
Okay, so for those that don't know, in Minnesota there's a lot of maroon and gold, right? It's at the University of Minnesota. I'm a Bulldog. I went to the University of Minnesota Duluth. So there's maroon and gold there. You're wearing a different kind of maroon and gold with a pitchfork. Tell me about what got you to the Arizona State Sun Devils.
It's funny you make that connection, because in Minnesota I always see like golfer attire, and I'm like, oh, ASU, but then it's not. But so I looked at ASU when I was going into my sophomore year of high school. My mom actually moved to Phoenix for her new job.
Okay.
And so I would come and visit her whenever I could. And when I was a junior, we toured. I didn't have any idea where I wanted to go to college, so we were like, might as well tour ASU. And since my mom has been here for so long, she was able to get me in-state tuition, so that was a big pull to here. Yeah, yep. So yeah, I was looking mostly at places for in-state tuition. But I wanted to get out of, I love Minnesota, but I wanted to experience new experiences, and I enjoyed the tour, and heard a lot of great stuff about the engineering school, which is where I am now, and yeah.
All right, so you're starting your sophomore year. You saw the program as a freshman. It had made great strides, believe it or not, from the year before. But you had a chance to experience it, and there was a numbers problem. It was hard to get a lot of girls. You couldn't really do a lot of specialty team stuff. And now you got a full roster, and it showed, right? Is that what really was the key in Colorado, was having enough girls and enough talented girls to do what you did up there?
Last year we had a fair amount of girls. I think years prior, we definitely, in the beginning of our program, there was a lot of struggle. But last year we had a fair amount. This year we have a fair amount. I think more what set us apart this year is how close we all became so quickly, and you can see that as a team when we're having fun with it. It's just we do so much more. We do so much better when we're having fun and we're being supportive of each other. And there was a lot of that this past weekend, and everybody was confident with the puck. Everyone had trust in each other, and I think that's really what set us apart more this year than previous.
So you not only scored goals, but you guys had a couple of shutouts, at least 2 shutouts, is that right, or were there 3?
There was 2, both games against Denver. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so it begs the question, when I look at the scores, and I know how you travel, and I know how you have to play games, 4 games, 3 days, how difficult was that?
It is very difficult. It's very draining, especially when they're, night or late at night, and then early the next morning, and then a weird gap in between, and then super late at night again, and super early the next morning. But we always seem to energize each other.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back into the Desert Southwest for Ice Time Hockey Southwest. My name's Andrew Bell, alongside another Sun Devil from the ASU Women's Hockey Team. I'm with Amy Gullicksen, and Sun Devils off to a great start this year, 4-0 start, and you obviously had a successful weekend in Colorado. What was the trip like, and getting a chance to pick up a couple W's?
Yeah, it was really fun. I think just the whole weekend we all had a lot of fun. The energy was high the whole time. Obviously the games were still hard. Those are tough teams to play, but we all worked super hard. We've been working really hard, and it was really fun to see our hard work pay off.
Definitely, and on this year's team, you have a couple of veteran presences too, like Jordan Nash Bolden, Molly Potter. Who are some of the players for kind of some of the underclassmen on the team, pardon me, that you guys kind of look up to and who you kind of resonate with, kind of on the ice and off?
Yeah, some of the freshmen for sure are leaders this year. Abby McGee has shown a lot of leadership. She's skating up the ice. Keeping the energy high, it's really great. All of the freshmen, honestly, are contributing to the high energy and the fast pace on the ice.
And so what's it like just playing under Coach Ellis as well and having Coach Marino and kind of just the staff as a whole? What have you enjoyed about it, and how is it getting to the rink every day and getting to Oceanside?
Yeah, our coaching staff, honestly, they're so great. They put in so much hard work for us that they probably don't have to, but every day they make it great for us. They make us work hard at practice, but yeah, it's really fun going out to practice every morning, even though it's 7 in the morning. Everyone's there, everyone's ready to play, and then the coaches make it enjoyable for us and make it difficult for us as well.
Yeah, and you mentioned those 7 a.m. practices too. I know kind of with how packed Oceanside is, you guys kind of practice at 7 a.m. What's it like just trying to get energy in the morning, and who are some of the people who are morning people kind of try to get the team ready in the morning?
Yeah, it's hard to wake up at 5 in the morning and be at the rink at 6 and get on the ice by 7, but Abby, Steinman, and Mal are freshmen. They come in the locker room, good morning, screaming every morning. It's great, but yeah, it's hard, but it's still fun.
So I have to ask this weekend too, obviously a big series coming up with GCU. What are you expecting out of the Lopes? And I know kind of going into that rivalry, a lot of people have probably talked about it, kind of the crosstown showdown, I think is what they call it. I don't know if that's still the rivalry name, but kind of just going up against GCU and getting a chance to play against them.
Yeah, I'm excited. We're all really pumped up. We're working hard this week, of course. Coming out of that long weekend, we're tired, but we're going to come out there and show them how our freshmen, what they can do, what our new team can do this year. I think it'll be really fun. It'll be interesting to see how they've improved, how we've improved, and how we match up.
And you keep on mentioning those freshmen as well. What is it about this year's freshman class that makes them so special, and it's kind of led to such a hot start after that first weekend?
Yeah, they work so hard. They are always working hard. They're always pumping us all up. They fit right in. Honestly, they came to the rink, they all fit in, and they just became a part of our family right away.
Definitely, and so with that will wrap up our segment with Amy Gullicksen. We're going to have a couple more Sun Devils stepping up and speaking with us here on Ice Time Hockey Southwest, but my name's Andrew Bell, that's Amy Gullicksen, and we'll be right back after this next short break, and we'll have another Sun Devil stepping up to talk with us.
In 1998, Bell Road in North Scottsdale was barely more than desert landscape. Now, 20 years later, what a difference. Our programs have developed junior Coyotes and Arizona Bobcats hockey players, elite figure skaters, as well as skaters that just want to have fun. Our partners prepare you on and off the ice, and we entertain you in the newly restyled 18 Degrees. The Ice Den Scottsdale has been the official practice facility of the Arizona Coyotes and your home for hockey in the Valley. The Ice Den, your home for hockey, skating, and most of all, fun.
All right, welcome back in, hockey fans in the Desert Southwest. It's Hockey Talk in the Desert Southwest. Getting a little dark out here at College Bar and Grill, but we're going strong because we got ASU women's hockey to talk about. Danielle Dupont is with me, a sophomore here at ASU. And Danielle, let's start off by figuring out what got you playing hockey.
It was actually my brother. My dad was a really good hockey player, but we never really picked it up. We moved to Oklahoma. When my brother was in second grade, he was like, I want to try hockey. And I was like, okay, I'll try it with you. And then I just loved it.
So tell me about hockey in Oklahoma. First of all, people are probably shocked to know that there's hockey there like there is in Arizona, but what was it like playing hockey in Oklahoma?
You know literally everyone who plays hockey, who owns the rinks. I know everyone by name.
So women's hockey in itself, was that difficult? Did you play with the boys for a certain amount of time, or were there girls to play with and compete with?
I actually played boys hockey until I was 15.
Okay.
Then I went to Dallas to play on a girls' team. That team folded because hockey wasn't super big in Dallas right then. And then I went to St. Louis. Then we moved to Canada.
Okay.
And I ended up getting to play for Canada for 2 years.
All right, so what led you to Arizona State? What made you want to be a Sun Devil?
I emailed like every school that had hockey because I was like, I want to play hockey. And Coach Lindsay, she responded right away. And she was like, come to this prospect camp. I came to prospect camp right after the first session. She was like, I want you to play for me. And I was like, well, yes. That's how it went. It wasn't super eventful, but.
Okay, so you get to Tempe, Arizona. You've been here now for a year, and you get a chance to start your second year. You've seen what this team is like. You've seen how Lindsay Ellis wants to grow the program and build the program. Are we seeing success right now? Can we call it success after winning 4 games, your first 4 games in 3 nights?
I think we can call it success. Again, it's an accomplishment for program history.
All right. So, Danielle, I was asking you, when you came to Arizona State, were you aware of what Coach Ellis went through to start this program? Did you know how it all started?
I have heard a bit about it. She mentions it every once in a while. She's clearly very passionate, and she clearly had the drive to make it happen. She doesn't slack off. She emails every player, at least that I've talked to, back right away. She's on top of getting players to come in, everything like that.
So the program is rolling now. I mean, I was just mentioning to you off camera about the fact you guys have multiple jerseys, you have theme nights, you have all those good things going on. So we talked about the success on the ice. Is this team ready to make it to a national tournament?
I think we have the talent to, and the work ethic. Everyone on the ice is pushing each other. We're all working hard, and it's honestly just really nice to see. And everyone's congratulating each other for success. It's great.
I also want to ask you about the NCAA program, because I'm sure you guys know about that and how it's going. So do you follow the NCAA program here at ASU as well?
I did go to quite a few games last year, at least their home games. It was a little hard to see because I'm not that tall and there were so many people.
So you're an advocate for a new arena as well, right?
Oh, yeah. That would be nice. Being able to see the games would be nice. Again, the team, it's incredible. Watching their practices, the energy is incredible for the NCAA practices as well.
All right, so you heard it, folks. Danielle, the sophomore center. Tell us a little about what do you classify as hometown? Because you've told me Oklahoma, Canada. You've been a little everywhere. Where do you say is home right now?
That's a hard question.
Tempe, Arizona?
I do like it here, but I think I'd have to say Oklahoma because that's where my mom, my dad, most of my mom's family is, my brother, a lot of the people who support me and support the fact that I had a passion for hockey. So I gotta say Oklahoma.
All right, Oklahoma it is, folks. So thanks for stepping in with us. Good luck the rest of the season. Let's see a national tournament bid for this ASU team. How's that sound?
I'd like that a lot. I'm sure everyone on the ice is willing to do whatever it takes to get there. So I'm sure it's a reality. We can make it a reality.
All right, you heard it, folks. ASU women's hockey is on the rise and getting stronger day by day, right?
Yeah.
All right, we'll be right back. We got more girls to talk to. We got to find out more about this program.
Behind the Mask Hockey Shop, celebrating 25 years of exceptional service to the Arizona hockey community, offering the top brands and an educated staff of hockey players to help you choose the right gear for you. Visit any one of our 3 Valley locations or check us out online at behindthemask.com.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back into Ice Time Hockey Southwest. My name's Andrew Bell, joined alongside Karlie Chadwick, and continuing our segment here with the ASU Women's Hockey Team, who's been nice enough to join us here at College Bar and Grill tonight here in Tempe. And so, Karlie, I got to ask, going into a big rivalry weekend with GCU this weekend, what are you most looking forward to, and kind of just about the matchup?
Oh, I'm looking forward to winning. And also, I've played with a few people from GCU, so just getting to see them again. And my old coach is the coach of GCU, so like I think the whole rivalry is going to be really fun and just playing hockey. So.
And so by old coach, you're talking about Natalie Rossi?
Yeah.
And so what's it like? So you played for Natalie growing up. What was it like playing for her? And now she's going to be on the opposite bench of you and going into that game.
It's going to be really weird. She was a really good coach, but it's going to suck when she loses, you know.
Talking some smack already here on the Ice Time Hockey Southwest show. And want to talk a little bit, too, this year about some of the newcomers on the team, some of the freshmen. What have you seen from them, and what do they bring to the table kind of with this team this year?
I think all the freshmen are really, really good this year. Just skating, scoring, just everything. And I don't know, I think they make the team a lot better, and I'm really excited. So, yeah.
And so playing in Colorado this weekend too, how was the first road trip of the year? How was it, getting to be with teammates and kind of in that road setting for the first time?
Oh my God, it was so fun. Just winning again was really fun, but also just being with everyone and getting closer, I think was really fun. And yeah, being on the bus and stuff like that, just getting to know people more, it was nice.
Any team bonding rituals or pregame things, just going into games, or anything that you guys developed on the road trip?
Not so much on the road trip, but like we do this big huddle and do a chant, and it really gets everyone hyped up, which is fun. So, yeah.
Hey, Michael here from M-Drive. My dad, a world-class scientist, actually made M-Drive for himself to stay active and continue enjoying life. And yes, M-Drive supports healthy testosterone, but it's so much more. M-Drive is the everyday supplement to fuel your drive with more energy and more strength. Listen, we'd love for you to try M-Drive too. Visit mdriveformen.com and we'll give you 20% off your first purchase. Just type in the code DRIVE at checkout. Refine your prime with M-Drive.
All right, welcome back in, hockey fans in the Desert Southwest. This is Hockey Talk in the Desert Southwest. We're continuing on our talk of ASU women's hockey because they are 4-0, undefeated, and just coming off a 4-game sweep in 3 days in Colorado. Malak Rabuck is with me, a freshman from everywhere in the world, she tells me. Tell me a little bit about your life and playing hockey. How did you get started?
Yeah, so basically my family's a military family. I grew up, like you said, basically everywhere. Most of my life I spent overseas in like Kuwait, mostly for like 10 years. And like, I don't know, if you don't know much about Kuwait, it's pretty much a desert, and there's not a lot of ice hockey there. So it was kind of weird starting up. I started, like, when I was living in America at one point, my mom signed me up for figure skating. Okay. And I don't know, I'm not much of a figure skater. It's not me. Yeah. It's like totally respected, but just not my sport. And so I asked my mom, I said, can I try hockey? And she goes, yeah, like, but we're moving to Kuwait. And she was like, if you can find it there, then you can play it. So I said, yeah. I was like, all right, sounds good. So we moved to Kuwait, and I found the only ice rink in the whole country. And there was like a team there. I was like, can I join? And they're like, yeah. And I was like 10 at the time, or like 12. And so I go there, and it was the Kuwait national team. And I just like messed around with them and like my figure skates for like the first year. And it was crazy. They were like 20, 30-year-old men just like skating around and stuff. It was insane. And my mom was like, oh my God, that was crazy. Like, we're never doing that again. And I was like, no, I loved it. Like, I love hockey. Don't you ever take me out of it. And she was like, okay, fair. Like, I respect it. So after that, I moved back here, and my mom and dad like found me a program in New Hampshire. And after that, like, I've just been playing since.
A lot more hockey in New Hampshire, right?
A lot more hockey in New Hampshire, yeah.
All right, so New Hampshire to Arizona State. How does that happen?
Yeah, well, I was in New Hampshire for a little bit, and then I came here from Westboro, Massachusetts, like 20 minutes from Boston. And I wanted a small school close to home, was what I wanted. And
that fits the bill. Arizona State, the largest in the country.
Yeah, exactly. So definitely not what I intended, but they have a really good. My major is cybersecurity, so they had a really great program for me, and I couldn't hold up the opportunity. And like the hockey here was really intriguing. So I'm so happy I came here.
All right, so you had a chance to see this team. What did you know about ASU women's hockey before you decided to come here?
Yeah, I didn't know much about it. First, when I first applied, I didn't really think about hockey in Arizona, much like a lot of people do. They don't really think, Arizona hockey. It's not the first thing that comes to mind. But after I applied, I looked a lot into it because I knew I wanted to play hockey in college. And I found the team, I found the program, and I was like, wow, this is really something I'd love to be a part of. This is really something I would love to contribute to. And so I came to the school, and I tried out for the team. I wasn't, I didn't go through the whole process. I was a walk-on, and I tried out, and I loved it. And, thankfully, Coach Lindsay, she gave me a spot, and I loved it. And, ever since then, I've just been going with it. So.
Okay, so you had a chance to make a trip on the road.
Yeah.
You guys went to Colorado. You play 4 games in 3 days. How difficult is that, going from morning games to night games, back to morning to middle of the day? How difficult?
It was pretty difficult, not going to lie. It was very tiring. It was late nights, early mornings, so that was definitely hard. But, all the girls, all of us kept super high spirits. Everyone was whenever someone was oh, I'm so tired, the other one was get up, game time, let's go. So we all, really helped each other bounce off each other, and it was just, a really good environment that even though it was very, exhausting, it was so worth it. It was such a great experience, so.
All right, so you got that out of the way. I know you're looking forward to playing at home, but it's rivalry week this week, and you're going to play Grand Canyon. Being a freshman, do you know what it means to play Grand Canyon and to defeat Grand Canyon?
I haven't had the experience, but the girls have been telling me, the upperclassmen, they've just been hyping up this whole week. They've just been really everyone practice this week has been super serious. We're all just really putting in a lot of work to get the result we want for the games. So very excited.
Let me throw you some compliments because I interviewed Coach Powers. I do a show with him every week, and he was telling me about how he was impressed with the energy you guys brought on Tuesday's practice. He was going, they just came off this road trip and they were screaming and hollering and flying out there. What does that tell you about your program?
It's honestly, it's something really great to see. It's it makes me, at least me, it makes me very happy. I'm sure the other girls are very happy that we're all very committed to it, and none of us are taking the program lightly. In fact, we all really want to help it grow, and I think that kind of energy is something that's really great to see in a team and just be a part of, and it's really great to see. Yeah.
All right, Malak, I appreciate you sitting in with us. Thanks for coming down to College Bar and enjoying some wings and some fun stuff, and more importantly, talking ASU women's hockey. Good luck the rest of the season, and let's get to a national tournament, okay?
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, welcome back in to Hockey Talk in the Desert Southwest. Scott Strandy, Andrew Bell. All right, Andrew, I made you a full-time co-host, at least for the Arizona show, so we're finishing up this one at the College Bar and Grill. Next week, we're going to be up at the Ice Den in Chandler. Your thoughts on Arizona State women's hockey, since that was where you started a few years back. What did you think?
Yeah, my first reporting job in college, I think I mentioned it before on the show when we did, a previous interview, but my first reporting job was covering ASU women's hockey in college. So to kind of see where they're going now and kind of where Coach Ellis has the program going, it's pretty cool to watch from afar. And, I'll be out Friday at the ASU GCU game, and then I have a story I'm doing coming up. I won't, tip anything, but I have a story I'm doing coming up that will be probably out next week, and it involves ASU women's hockey and kind of just the rivalry this weekend. So I'm going out to practice tomorrow morning. I'll be there bright and early as well, and then I'll be at the game on Friday. So it's definitely something that I like to keep an eye on, and like I said, Coach Ellis has done a great job. So has Coach Rossi over at GCU. So the rivalry just continues to develop, and it should be, like I said, a pretty fun rivalry matchup this week. And I think it just gets better every year, and the players and the competition just get better every year too. So it should be a fun matchup for 2 games in a row.
All right, let's shout it out to House of Sparky because they do a great job of covering ASC sports all the way across the board. I know they took a little push last year from people wanting more hockey coverage, and they definitely got the right guy in the job when you're covering it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about that. But, yeah, no, I remember last year, Brady Vernon, who was our co-editor, it was one of those things at the beginning of the year, they kind of just had a small staff. And football and basketball is kind of, the primary stuff, and then everything else kind of falls after that. But House of Sparky has I like to, pump it up, but a long-lasting tradition of covering not only ASU at the NC2A level, but at the club level as well. Guys like Justin Emerson, Brad Denny, who used to be a club player for Coach Bowers. So, you're getting a chance to continue on the hockey legacy of Riders ASU is pretty cool. But yeah, I remember Brady was hearing it last year because we hadn't had any hockey coverage for about the first month or so of the season, and people were starting to get a little ticked off. So I had a conversation with them, and he was able to bring me on, and now we're kind of continuing coverage, and should have some fun stuff and some good stories this year, and some fun storylines for a team that's coming off a really good tournament year. So.
Well, I can tell you, I'm glad to have you because you're very knowledgeable in what you do, and I appreciate you sitting in with us. So count on seeing him as often as we can on Wednesday nights from College Bar, the first Wednesday of the month, Ice Den Scottsdale from the second Wednesday of the month, and we'll give you a break or so for the last 2 weeks of the month when we go on the road. We've got to go down south. We've got to go to UNLV. So as we wrap things up here from College Bar and Grill, it's been another great show. We always enjoy, even with technical difficulties, we somehow get to roll through it. So hopefully everybody will get a chance to see this. We will try to work on the technical difficulties to make sure our mics are working properly for Periscope next week. So join us again next week at Ice Den Scottsdale, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We'll be live on Periscope and Twitter. And for now, let's thank our sponsors. We got College Bar and Grill. Thanks again for hosting us. I know it's trivia night coming up here in less than an hour, so everybody will be here for that. We also want to thank our friends at OxyPal, the Ice Den in Scottsdale and Chandler. We got Oceanside Ice Arena. We got our friends over at M-Drive that are always keeping us energized and keeping us going. The University of Arizona is one of our corporate partners this year, so a lot of good things going on in the hockey world. We continue to grow it. And Andrew, thanks for stepping in with me.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, and a big shout out to Coach Ellis and her players for kind of stepping in with us this evening. I know it's always kind of crazy, especially at the beginning of a school year with hectic schedules, homework, class, practice, all that stuff. So, a big shout out to them as well just for coming out this evening. And it was a good time getting a chance to chat with them just about the season ahead and kind of what lies ahead for the program. So thank you to them, and thank you to you, Scott, for having me this evening.
Absolutely. Well, join us next week, like I said, 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. We'll hopefully be live because that's what this is supposed to be, is a live broadcast. So we'll give it our best shot for next week. But until then, this is it from College Bar and Grill. It's Hocktober. Season has officially begun.